The Hyperion. Mostly known for being one of the most powerful weapons in Hypixel Skyblock. But have you ever thought why? 1.2 billion coins. By far one of the best dungeon weapons before Master Mode anyway. It's virtually non-essential for pretty much anything that you're going to do within the Crimson Isles, if it's combat related. This weapon has so many uses. Also, at the end of the day, it's a wither blade, so if the Hyperion isn't for you, you can just simply change it to either a Valkyrie, a Scylla, or an Estrella. In essence, this weapon is pretty much one of the most versatile weapons there is. Anyway, a little bit of background. Now, the Hyperion was initially added to Skyblock in November 2020, and since then there's only really been one tweak. In March 2021, when the intelligence was slightly decreased, and also increased in its dungeon's firepower. At this point, the Hyperion feels like it's been here forever, and I can't imagine life without it. But Nitrals, how do you obtain this amazing weapon? Well, I'm sure most of you probably know. So in order to craft a Hyperion, you first need to craft a Necron's Blade. And to get the Necron's Blade, you need the all-knowing Necron's Handle. Also 24 with the catalysts, but they're a little bit secondary to the Necron Handle. Nitrals, how do you obtain a Necron's Handle? Well, that's a good question. And the answer is floor 7 dungeons. If you complete a dungeon and get an S+ on a floor 7, then the bedrock chest appears. And the bedrock chest is where the Necron Handle lies. Now, your chances of dropping a Necron Blade are around about 1 in 1000, which basically means that you're going to need around about 1000 S+ runs on a floor 7 to realistically have a chance of getting a Hyperion. Now, it goes without saying you could get very lucky, do 2 runs and get 2 Necron Blades. And it's probably been done in the past, but it's not likely at all. Now, there are actually rumours at the moment of an RNG meter actually being introduced into dungeons, therefore almost guaranteeing a Necron Handle after a certain amount of runs. Which is an interesting spectacle, can be good and also can be bad, but that's not been introduced as of yet. Anyway, once you have your Necron Blade, to make it into a Hyperion, you'll need to surround it with 8 LASR's eyes. And there you have it, that's how you get your Hyperion. Now, something that I find quite interesting is its price point. Now, at the moment, this man here behind me, as you can see, Big Derp, it's not really letting me go on the AH. But as you saw before, he didn't do a great job of removing his auctions down here. And as of now, Hyperion's around about 1.2 billion coins, as you can see. Paid about 1.13 billion for this one. We'll see if that's a good investment or not. Who knows? Now, I've bought a Hyperion for way cheaper in the past. At one point, Necron Blades themselves were as low as around about 370 mil. In comparison now, they're about 950 mil to a billion coins. Now, obviously that's sort of due to updates and changing meta, but it's still pretty mad to think it's the same item and it's changing prices that much. I feel like now would be a great time to plug that subscribe button underneath the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Here's why. You see, at the moment we're actually trying to beat the population of San Marino with subscribers. You can see the population almost coincides with YouTube rank. Now, if we actually get to YouTube rank, the plan is to visit San Marino in a video and we'll be able to claim that we have more subscribers than the whole population of a country, which will be pretty mental. So double check below the video, if your subscribe button is red, click it, because it shouldn't be. Back to the video. As I've already mentioned in this video, updates have affected the Hyperion. Prime example will be Crimson Isles. It's just way more useful now. It seems like everything that you do here, you need a Hyperion, you need a mage set, or else you're going to struggle. Now, this update in particular has quite drastically increased the price, to be completely honest. I'm not going to lie. But it's definitely brought hype back to the weapon. Do you get it? Hyperion. It's good, that. So you may ask, why is the Hyperion so expensive? 1.2 billion coins. You could definitely get a cheaper weapon that probably does more damage in a sense. But not in the way that the Hyperion does. You see, the Hyperion is very unique. There aren't many weapons that are really similar to it. The AOTD to an extent, almost with its ability. Then maybe almost the Dreadlord sword in a way, but nothing really comes close to it. Of course, you have to consider, like I've mentioned before, how rare it actually is to drop a Necron's Handle. And not only how rare it is, how geared you have to be actually be able to get consistent S+ in floor 7. And also the time you have to invest into getting the Necron's Handle, because obviously that isn't a quick process. And obviously an element of luck. Then you've got to think, well, a lot of people use it for dungeons up to floor 7. A lot of people use the Hyperion to get a Necron's Blade because, I mean, it's probably one of the best weapons to use in floor 7. Then you've got people using it in the Crimson Isles for a variation of things. On top of that, it doesn't really have a crazy high requirement. It requires just one completion of a Catacombs floor 7, which requires Catacombs 24, which is not too difficult to really get. Essentially, if you have the coins, you could get to Catacombs 24, buy a carry and get a Hyperion, and it's not going to take a massive amount of time invested. Now, as I mentioned before, there is speculation that if this RNG meter does get introduced into dungeons like people think it is, it's going to kill the price of the Hyperion. And that is entirely possible, just depending on how it's introduced. To be honest, for my bank account's sake, I hope that's not the case. So that's the rise of the Hyperion. What's next? Is the Hyperion going to be meta forever? Probably not. Obviously, in reality, there's updates coming out quite often, even though it seems like an eternity. And eventually I'm sure it'll be superseded. But who knows what's by. Exciting times. Anyway, this is going to be just about the end of the video. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you did, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.